I want to call the Thursday, April 15th, 2021 Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting to order. Commissioner Wathen, would you lead us in a prayer and the pledge?
Yes. Dear God, our Father, thank you for all the blessings that you have bestowed on Daviess County and this country. Please provide protection for our military and our deputies and our police. Keep them from harm's way. Bless all of our employees and their families. We ask that you protect all of those who have been affected in any way by the pandemic. And we ask that you bless our country and protect it from all those who wish it harm. And we ask that you give us the wisdom that we need to make the right decisions for the citizens of Daviess County. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
And I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner, and once again, I want to welcome everyone to our Thursday, April 15th, 2021 Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting. I might remind you that we were doing this on Facebook Live, but we will take comments regarding any of the items that are on the agenda tonight. We are on a delay. David, is it 30 second to 45 second delay? If you send a comment in, we'll try to make sure that we get them in a timely manner. Also, at the end of our meeting is a time period in which we invite people to talk about anything or ask questions or make comments on anything other than what was on the agenda. Before we get started, Commissioners, I want to just take this opportunity to send out Daviess County Fiscal Court's condolences to the family of Shartez McHenry, who was a member of the Owensboro Police Department, OPD. We know how close-knit the law enforcement in our community is, and Shartez was a member of the police force for 14 years, quite some time, somewhere around 14 years. So our prayers go out for her and particularly for the loved ones who are left here to cherish their memory. I also want to take the opportunity to send out our condolences to my good friend and of many of you, your friend, Chris Belcher, who lost his wife, Vicki, this morning. Vicki was the daughter of Gesi, Lowe, a friend of the court, and we just want you to know that you're in our thoughts and prayers. Okay, are we ready? First item.
Consideration for presentation, A, Treasurer's Report for the month ending March 2021.
And I think that our Assistant Treasurer, George Johnson, is over there, right?
Yes, Judge.
And I'm not going to ask you to say anything except the bare bones.
Fair. Cash balance March 31st, 2021 is $44,837,783. Of that, the general fund is $20,309,163. All funds are operating within expected ranges, and I have nothing else of significance to report.
Any question or comment, Commissioners? While we have a rather large balance of cash on hand, you might notice that $20 million of that is our operating fund, and in that $20 million is about $6 million that we're holding for our radio rework. So we're just about where we are every year, doing okay. If there are no questions or no comments, this report is on file in the offices of the Daviess County Fiscal Court, and anyone is welcome to take a look at it, and the treasurer would be happy to answer the questions then. Next item.
2, consideration for approval, A, Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting minutes of April 1, 2021.
motion approved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Commissioners, you all had a copy of the minutes in your possession for some time. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
B, all claims for all departments.
Move to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Again, Commissioners, you've all had a copy of the bills due and payable by Davis County Fiscal Court in your hands for some time. Any questions of the Assistant Treasurer? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
C, County Road Aid Co-op Program, Resolution Number 7, 2021, and contract with the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet for fiscal year 2021-2022.
Motion approved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Johnson, I think you were going to explain this.
Yes, Judge, this agreement is between the Commonwealth of Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, Department of Rural Municipal Aid, and the Fiscal Court of Davis County to provide county road aid funds for construction, reconstruction, and/or maintenance of certain roads and bridges within the county. These funds are derived from the state gas tax allocated via the FITHS formula, and this year's apportionment is $1,525,161.80. We will receive 97% of this figure, which is $1,479,407. The remaining 3% is withheld by the state in an emergency fund. This agreement is the same as in prior years with the exception of how funds are distributed. Historically, they were distributed on a strict 60-40 methodology on certain dates throughout the fiscal year. However, for this apportionment, funds will be distributed based on available KYTC financial resources. We anticipate no issues with this alteration, and I would recommend approval.
Commissioners, any question or comment? County Engineer, are you okay with that description? I am. Okay. If there are no comment or question, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Before we go on, Jordan, I'm sitting here looking at this little bitty screen in front of me, and it's got a very tiny, teeny, eensy, bitsy, witsy. There you go. That's much better. Is there any way to make it any bigger than that? Okay, well, we'll just leave it alone. I just hate to spend money and not be able to use something. So, next item, Terry.
D, Passageway Easement with G.L.O.F. LLC.
Move to approve. Second.
I have a motion, second. Commissioners, this has to do with an easement that gives passage from one piece of property owned by Diamond Lake to another piece of property by Diamond Lake. We happen to have bought the property. When we closed off the water rights, we also closed the easement off, so we need to restore this. Any question or comment?
This
Yes,
will
sir.
go with, like, if there's new owners, it will
Yes.
follow those new owners.
There is a new owner right now.
Okay.
As of today, I think.
Okay.
So we're just doing this. Bryan Smith was very kind in accommodating us on getting rid of that water right, and it just was a slip of the pen.
Gotcha.
Any other question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
E, Amended Material Handler Lease Agreements with Ricky Moore Trucking LLC.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion second. David, do you want to talk about this, or do you want me to take a attempt?
So a year ago, we approved the original agreement with Ricky Moore regarding this material handler. It was not clear regarding the handler at the end of the agreement. It is a lease to own. So since it was not clear, it was implied that it was a lease to own, but it wasn't clear. So he asked that we make it clear. So we amended the agreement so it clearly states that if they make the payments all the way through the term, that we will sign the equipment over to them.
This was the original intent of the agreement, but when his accountant was looking at it, asked to see the agreement, he said, whoops, this is not how that's written. So
As I said, it's implied in it, but it doesn't state it.
Yeah, and it had some tax consequences. So, any other question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
F, hire Julie Gray as a veterinarian upon successful completion of pre-employment screening.
Motion approved. Second.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, this is something that we actually started, I guess, talking about last May, June, July, somewhere in that point. As we have moved forward, we found it harder and harder to get the vet services that we needed in a timely manner. We actually did a request for proposal from the local vets, had no replies. We were faced with two paths. Either start putting down a lot more animals than we would want to, or to hire a vet and start our own clinic. This is the culmination. We've tendered an offer to Julie Gray. She accepted, and this finalizes that. Once we have her on board, Jordan, we will start with the plans to build the vet tech center out at the operations center, and we will start doing our own. I don't want to say we'll do all of our vet services out there, because we're not going to be able to do major surgeries and things like that, but predominantly all the spay and neuters and those kinds of things that we need to do on animals before we readopt them or send them out will be done there. Any question or comment?
Do we know when she's going to start?
Pull that down. Where are they?
Do we know when she's going to start?
David?
She will be starting, I believe, the 5th of July is the current proposed start date. So we have a lot of time, and in the meantime, she will be working with us and the architects in designing the building to make sure it gets the equipment, and she will help us start ordering the equipment.
Good, that's what I was,
Yeah.
Yes, she will be involved in the design work. She'll be involved in ordering equipment. But as I said, right now, the plan is for her to start July 5th.
Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Welcome on board, Julie. Next item.
G, hire Garrett, Snyder, and Nathan Lanham as Road Department seasonal interns effective upon successful completion of pre-employment screenings.
Move to approve.
second.
I have a motion second. Commissioners, these are an annual interns that we always hire, young college kids right out of high school. They will work with the engineer. Hope they don't pick up any bad habits. I doubt that will be the way they are at the end of it. But anyway, welcome to have them in and learn a little bit about what goes on at the road department. Any comment or question? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
H, hire John Sampley as a part-time year-round worker in the Parks Department effective upon successful completion of pre-employment screening.
Move to approve. Second.
I have a motion second. Commissioners, again, this is someone that will fill a position that we typically hire through the summer months, and it is part-time. Any question or comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I, hire Joseph Schmid as a seasonal worker at Yellow Creek Park effective upon successful completion of pre-employment screening.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Again, it's the same as H. This is a Yellow Creek Park staff member. Any question or comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
J, hire Kenneth Rideout, Drake Renfro, and Martin Hamilton as seasonal workers at Panther Creek Park effective upon successful completion of pre-employment screenings.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Again, Commissioners, these are part-time seasonal employees at Panther Creek Park. The Renfro, I'm wondering if that's the son of one of the Renfros that we have had on for quite some time working for the Parks Department. Regardless, welcome to the crew. Any question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
K, reappoint Bryan Reynolds and Gesi Lowe to the DC Suite Board, terms 5/1/2021 to 5/1/2024.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, these folks have served on the board for quite some time. I don't know that this board meets very often anymore. But anyway, we still have the board on our books, and we appoint people to it. I appreciate the work they've done in the past, and I'm sure that they will do as good a job going forward as they have done in the past. Question or comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
L, appoint Gail Niehaus to the PVA Assessment Appeals Board, term 5/3/2021 to 5/3/2024.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion second. Commissioners, Dana Thornberry had been serving on that board. Her term and time was up. I asked Commissioner Wathen to bring me a name. He brought me Gail Niehaus. I know Gail, and she has agreed to serve on the PVA Assessment Appeals Board. That's appropriate because that board starts meeting here in, 2 or 3 weeks. As a matter of fact, I might remind everybody, if you go to our website, you will see an interview that I did with the PVA yesterday, and she is already getting ready to send out the assessments, the things that everybody waits for in their mail. Any question or comment? Commissioner Wathen, do you have anything that you'd like to add?
No, well, I'll just say Gail's been in real estate for a long time, I think, probably approaching 15 years, so I think she'll be an asset to that board. And
Okay.
thank Dana for serving. She's an appraiser,
Yes.
so she also was knowledgeable.
Any other question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
M, second reading of KOC 921.676, 2021, 03/2021, an ordinance amending a zoning classification set forth in the county zoning ordinance of February 5, 2004.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion second. Commissioners, this is the second reading of this ordinance. We had the folks on both sides of the ordinance here with us last time. Both those folks who spoke at the OMPC Planning Commission meeting for and against the rezoning. We, as well as the folks, while they weren't there, we felt that we needed to give them the opportunity to express their concern. So the folks who had filed a petition with the court to look at it again and overturn the zoning. We heard evidence from both sides. We did what we typically do in rezonings. If you recall, we could have thrown everything out, held our own finding of fact, which we've not done, and I don't think it's wise to do. We could have done nothing. If we'd have done nothing, Claude, was it 21 days or 30 days, it would have become law, which I don't think would have been treating the two sides fairly, and particularly those who filed an appeal. What we typically do is we took the evidence that was heard at the Planning Commission and we reviewed that evidence. We reviewed the procedures of the Planning Commission to make sure that everyone there was given due process. And now it's time for us to make a decision as to whether we uphold, and a vote yes upholds the Planning Commission's decision to rezone. A vote no will be a vote to overturn the Planning Commission's decision to rezone. Commissioner Wathen and I talking this afternoon, and I don't want to steal your thunder, Commissioner Wathen, but he said he certainly saw the side of the folks who had filed an appeal, and I think we all do. Nobody likes to see a change in their neighborhood, particularly a neighborhood where there are single-family houses, and now you're going to bring apartments into the area. But at the same time, a residence is a residence, whether it's single-family or multifamily or mixed use. Many neighborhoods now are becoming mixed-use neighborhoods, and you'll see these rather large tract developments will have multifamily, single-family. So it's not that uncommon, and regardless of whether it's multifamily or single-family, it's still residential. I know there was some concern brought up about it being a commercial operation because they were going to be leasing the property. There was some concern voiced to us that that the roads out there couldn't handle the additional traffic. And there was a request that we consider requiring a traffic study. But a traffic study, number one, wasn't required. Our present rules does not require a traffic study unless the number of apartments exceed 140 units. So I think, as far as I'm concerned, if there's a group of people who believe that should be changed, then I think they should petition OMPC, they should petition the county engineer, they should petition the state where we get these rules and regulations from, and make the change, but you don't change it when somebody has started a process. I'm going to stop right there and let any of the commissioners have a conversation about it, or tell us what you think or what your feelings are.
Well, I want to mention that I think it would be, and I think, you know, from our conversation earlier, we talked about it'd be a good idea for some sort of screening, especially over on the Daniel, well, both roads, the Daniel and the Hayden Road, both on both sides. I think it would be beneficial to the existing neighborhoods.
And we have done that in the past, Claude, and I think that is it in our purview to add to the conditions of the rezoning. I think what I would recommend, and I don't know if we probably have to have a motion and a second to add to the conditions, but what I would like to say is that two things. The screening, I agree. One of the concerns I have, when you have apartments, a lot of times you have young folks, and where there are young folks, you have kids. And when you have apartments that are so close to county roads, not county streets, these are county roads, kids tend to be rambunctious, and they don't look where they're running and playing, and they end up running out in the street. And I would hate to see a child run out into one of those county roads and get hit. So the first condition that I would like to add would be to construct an ornamental fencing within the property boundaries and outside of the easement, down the Daniels Lane side, down the Hayden Road side, and actually down that west side where the single-family house is. And that kind of keeps the children confined into the apartment complex. We have to be careful, and Mark assures me that he will be consulted regarding site triangles. I don't want something put in there that would block the people who live in the apartments from being able to see and get out on the road. And at the same time, we don't want to block the site triangle at Daniels and Hayden Road. Then the second thing that you do, and you can't put enough screening in there to block out completely the apartments, but what you do is you kind of put screening in to break up the outline of the apartments. And I think that we would like to see screening along the property boundaries with a tree. And when I say the property boundaries, I'm talking about the east, south, and north side. West side. So it's east, south, and west. The north side is along Yellow Creek.
Right.
And there are trees, a sufficient number of trees there. But screening along that way with trees no more than 30 foot apart. And again, being very careful regarding the site triangles. And I think when the development plat is brought to planning and zoning, they will bring that screening, they'll bring all that. Planning and zoning will have these additional conditions to know the will of the court. Any comment? Any question?
So you wanna, are you making a motion, or are you
I'm going to
asking
make
for
a motion that we construct an ornamental fencing within the property boundaries and outside the easement down the east, south, and west side, and that we construct screening along the property boundaries with trees no more than 30 feet apart down the east, south, and west side, taking into consideration the site triangles at the entrance and exit to the apartments and at Daniels Lane. I would make that as a motion.
And that's an additional
That's,
condition.
that would be condition number 6 and condition number 7.
Okay, and I'll second that then.
To amend the ordinance, yeah. We amend the ordinance by adding the conditions.
Okay.
Comment or question on the amendment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now we come to a vote on the ordinance itself as amended. Any other comment or question? David, any comment or question on? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
A, other business to be brought before the Daviess County Fiscal Court.
Don't think we have, Eddie Cherry.
I do not. B, public comments.
This is a time that if the public were here, we'd have them come to the podium, identify themselves, and welcome them to speak on anything other than what was on the agenda. Have you heard anything, David? So we have none. Next item.
Comments by Daviess County Fiscal Court.
Commissioner Koger?
It was nice last weekend seeing ball tournaments taking place, and I was out at Panther Creek, and they had a lot of teams out there. A lot of teams from Evansville came over, and it was just good seeing the people out, seeing smiles on their faces, and you got the basketball goes back in play, so that's helped out a lot. So it looks like things are moving forward.
Okay, Commissioner Wathen?
I agree.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, Commissioner Caslen?
Pass.
Just a couple of things. First of all, we did drop into the yellow. Now we've upticked back into the orange, but I think that's just going to be for a short term. I hope, anyway, we don't see a large increase in the number of cases as a result of spring break. And Henderson had quite an uptick today, but that was because they had an outbreak in their jail. David, 26 prisoners and 1 staff, I think. So they had 30 in the county and 27 of them were in the jail. I noticed on Facebook, and I hate to go there, but I noticed on Facebook that we had somebody who was berating the county for not enforcing all the governor's mandates, and actually it was the health department's responsibility to do those things. And I can tell those folks that I listened to or read that the health department did respond to some complaints, and they did shut down for some time. So fiscal court, we don't have the personnel or people, and quite frankly, the sheriff's department nor OPD have the personnel to do those kinds of things. And it was a health mandate. But one of the things that they said that just kind of bothered me was that Daviess County, because of the lack of enforcement by the city and the county folks, had more cases than Vanderburgh County, and Vanderburgh County is twice as big as Daviess County. I don't have my figures in front of me, but that's just not true. Now, people, you are absolutely entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your facts. And it's a very simple process of going to CDC records and looking at the number of cases in Daviess County versus the number of cases in Vanderburgh County, dividing those by 100,000 to get the rates. Vanderburgh County has had more cases than Daviess County by far, and Vanderburgh County has had more deaths than Daviess County by far. And this being, even though Vanderburgh County has had some mandates where they would fine people or they would have the police out and shut things down. I think what David and I have found, and I think what all of you have found, is there's relatively little difference across the nation as to the number of cases per 100,000 of people, regardless of what mandates were put in place. Some places that were left wide open, on the long haul, on average, had the same number of cases or very close as those who were shut down completely. So it's, you know, it's one thing, again, as I said, to have your own opinion. You absolutely have that right. My daddy fought in World War II, as several of your dads did, and I know several of us up here served in the military to give them that right. But you're not entitled to facts. Second thing, and this has been a long-running thing, but we're near the end of a journey that started in June of last year when a proposal was made to move the Confederate monument off the courthouse lawn. We delayed action, and I think rightly so, in order to give all interested parties an opportunity to express their opinion, and I think we can all agree their opinions were expressed. In August, the court voted 4-0 to move the monument from the courthouse lawn. In August, we formed a committee and asked them, you know, take comments from the public and bring us some options. And they did that. They did that in December. Actually, they did it in December, which was quite a bit sooner than we thought, and we gave them quite a bit of time because of COVID. We didn't know that they were going to be able to move, but they did a good job. Their recommendations were to move the statue to the Owensboro Museum of Science and History without the base, because the science building couldn't handle the base and the statue. Move the statue to the Owensboro Museum of Fine Art without the base, again, for the same reason. Move the base to the site of Battle of Panther Creek on Highway 431, being contingent upon the property owners being okay with that. Another site that was considered was Elmwood Cemetery, but that site wasn't recommended directly to us. We took a break during December, and after the holidays, I had told people that I hoped that we could decide which of these would be best. We'd vet them and where would be best the first 3 months, first quarter, and that the move would occur in the second quarter. Well, the first quarter's come and gone, and I can tell you that while the board of the Museum of Science and History was willing to take it, the property owner just was unable to grant permission to move the statue there. The Museum of Fine Arts, we contacted them, and they told us that after due consideration, they couldn't accommodate the monument either. Elmwood Cemetery had been discussed, and, you know, a cemetery we felt was a good place to put it because we've heard both sides talk in terms of that statue was dedicated to remember the dead who were buried in unmarked graves. It was to honor the dead. We contacted their headquarters, and they also declined to accept the relocation of the monument. So that's where we are today. Now, I just am reporting this because there are a lot of people who watch the meetings, and they're concerned about when are you going to move it, where's it going to go. And all I can tell you is that I am in contact right now with another entity for a potential site, and I hope to bring a recommendation sometimes in late May. But until that time, I'm not at liberty to reveal the entity that we're negotiating with. I have talked to the commissioners about it, and as soon as we know, we will decide whether that's viable. Until then, I ask for your patience, and I understand there are folks who are out there that will say we've been patient for 120 years, and I understand that. And I don't begin to understand the heartache that the monument causes you. I know the heartache that it causes those who want it to stay there. But we are working diligently to uphold the integrity of this court and do what the court voted to do back in August of last year. So with that, if there is no other business to be brought before Daviess County Fiscal Court tonight, without exception, we're adjourned.